This break is brought to you by Netflix. For a free 30-day trial, head over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. Now, we have got some pretty serious spoilers for you today. If you don't want to know about the updates in the Rathian questline, if you don't want to know about the Mogu, if you don't want to know about the Shah, about the Mantid, about various parts of the new continent, if you don't want to know about pretty much anything in the Mists of Pandaria expansion, and the future of that lore-wise, please push stop now. Do not listen to this video, do not read the article below, do not listen to the audio clip, which is in another video at the bottom of the page if you don't want to have spoilers about any of those things. I am hoping I'm making this really, really clear, because if you don't want spoilers, you should stop watching this right now. Right, okay? Okay, you stopped. Okay, good. So for the rest of us who do want spoilers, I'm joined today by little Missy, who you all know from various websites, Convert to Raid, TankSpot, and of course here at Gamebreaker as well. Why is Missy here? Because I don't know that much about lore, and because we've got some real fun spoilers today, we thought we'd bring in an expert. So we've got Missy with us, and we're just going to jump straight in, Missy, and we're just going to listen to the first chunk of this video. It's not that exciting, but here we go.
The shadow pan are here. They may be of use to us.
So it starts off well with a shadow pan.
You there? Hello? Oh, this one's
Which,
mute.
the thing about
Yes, that's right.
Rathian is that he
Help us defend
likes
the forge.
the
We're
dark
doing
aspects of
heroic
most of
things
our
here.
people. So we had
Thank you.
Ravenhold,
This
and now
foundry
we have the
should
Shadow
be
Pan.
sufficient. We will
Okay.
empower the metal with an electrical charge. Perhaps if I overcharge the forge, it will destabilize this Shah nuisance.
He reminds me a little bit of Bran's Bronzebeard, because he's just kind of like,
Problem solved.
maybe if I do this? I don't know.
I may have
Well,
spoken too
he's
soon.
still whelpling,
The
so
Shah
he's still
grows in
experimenting and learning
Destroy
more
it.
about the
You
world
aren't
outside. So
harboring any
he's
bad
kind of
thoughts, are
childlike
you?
in his
I've overcharged
mentality.
the anvils.
Ah,
They
there
will
you
be
go.
very effective against the Shah, but each one can only be used once more. The lance is finished. Quickly, hurl it at the Shah. Tong, is that our friend? According to this runestone.
Right, according to this runestone, so we're going to cut it off there for a second. So all that really happened there is talking with the Mogu. With the Mogu? What am I talking about? He's talking with the Shadow Pan. I'm getting overexcited because of these spoilers. He's talking to the Shadow Pan. What's going on, Missy?
Okay, so basically right now he's setting everything up for us to be going in. The Shadowpan are kind of similar to the Ravenhold, like I had mentioned. He likes going to the stealthy part of it because it just makes sense for a black dragon to be with the stealthy part, considering what Nyxia has done to Varian and so forth in
Seems
WoW
reasonable.
history.
That sounds cool. So is there anything, we don't know anything more about these anvils or this forge or anything like that? That's kind of all new to us at the moment?
At the moment, yes, and this is
Okay.
basically going to be the way that I guess we get our Thunder Forge.
Ah, Thunder Forge, of course. Great point. I hadn't even considered that. You see, this is why we've got you here. So that's kind of the boring bit. We're getting into the exciting stuff now. So we're going to move on. My video just cut off the according to a runestone. So just imagine that it just says according to the runestone, and we're going to dive straight in with this next chunk here.
Mogu were Titan constructs. Soulless
Titan
creatures built of
constructs.
stone.
We saw
We
that coming.
suspected as much. You found another stone. What have we learned? The curse of flesh made the Mogu mortal. Ah, but later they found a way to reverse the process. A clever race. The Mogu served a Titan keeper. His name was Ra. In the Mogu tongue, Ra-Den means Master Ra. Fascinating. I must know more. According to this, the Mogu and their master were sent to Pandaria. They were pursuing a great darkness. The fragment is incomplete. We must find others. Here there is a mention of an old god, Yasharaj, a beast with 7 heads who breathed darkness. I suspect that thing was the source of the Shah that haunts Pandaria to this day.
Ah, so there's an old god. Are you excited, Missy?
Oh, I called this back when we were doing Mists of Pandaria beta. I
Wow.
am so excited about this.
That's fantastic. When I first played this to Missy, she was telling me she was doing like a little fist pump in the room because she was so pleased. Totally
It was
called it.
amazing. So I got an interview with Convert to Raid, and we were discussing like possibilities with Myths of Pandaria and what was happening. And the storyline is completely new, which is amazing.
Mm.
But I am skilled at my whole let's break a story down and find the foreshadowing and guesstimate.
Absolutely. And so you sort of see this old gods thing coming, and this Yishar, I can't, my gosh, I can't say that. Yishard, this Shah dude, the beast with 7 heads that breathes darkness. Do we know much about that already? I seem to remember seeing an illustration or something.
It's possible that we might have seen an illustration. I would have to go looking.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about the 7 heads is that it matches up with every individual Shah that we've had to take out.
Ah, good point. Yeah, so there is that. Yes, very good point. So we've had 7 Shahs as a guy with 7 heads that breathes darkness. Okay, so we're going to progress on with a little bit more of the video, and I know that Missy was very excited about this next part. Take a listen.
The shadow. This runestone speaks of a cradle of life, a place where the Titans could create new creatures. Oh, of course, the Veil of Eternal Blossoms. It was a living laboratory, much like Ungoro Crater or Sholazar Basin. We're beginning to put the pieces together, champion. The Mogu were created and sent here to guard the Veil for their Titan masters. Guard it from what? Were the old gods still a threat? Here, this fragment speaks of the winged legions of Yasharaj. Servants of an old god? Could this mean the Mantid?
Oh, so the legions of Yasharaj perhaps could be the Mantid, but that wasn't the bit that you were really excited about, was it, Missy?
No, it wasn't. But it was sort of hinted at that the Mantid are part of the same bug colonizations that we've had to deal with in the past that are related to old gods. When you finish the Klaxi and get exalted, there's a nice little storyline that that's as far as I'm going with it because some people stop at review, but
Yeah.
it was so exciting and I love that part.
Oh, well, if you're not exalted with the Klaxi and you're enjoying the lore spoilers that we're bringing you here today, go get some more. We won't spoil that much for you. We're spoiling all this, though. Totally spoiling this. But it was the previous bit, the Cradle of Life, that you were excited about, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. Yes, oh yes.
So a place where the Titans could create new creatures, the Veil of Eternal Blossoms being a living laboratory.
Which we've had before. We've had this with Ungoro, and we've had this with Sholazar Basin.
Ah, yes. So it's kind of. Do you think there's some progression there? Do you think we'll see links going back towards those older zones?
Not to mention that we do have the gold casket that we had to get at the end of Uldum.
Ah, yes, of course. See, this is why we've got you here. This is all this good knowledge, which I don't have it to think of. So we're going to just carry on now to the very last bit, which has got some really, if you've been listening this far and you're thinking, these spoilers aren't that spoilery, it's not that bad. If you don't want spoilers about the Thunder King, stop listening right now. I've warned you. I've given you so many warnings. Thunder King spoilers follow. Let's take a listen.
Moonstone is more recent than the others. Something about the Sleeping Keeper. I think it's referring to Ra-Den, but why was he asleep? You found another piece of the puzzle. This was carved by the Mogu. They were frustrated 1,000 years with no orders from their master, and their bodies had turned to flesh. The Mogu began to argue amongst themselves. This runestone speaks of Mogu savagery. They fell apart into warrior clans, but one king was more ambitious than the others. Lei Shen, the Thunder King. When the Titan Keeper fell silent, Lei Shen decided to speak for him. Ah, the final piece of the puzzle. The Thunder King took on the powers of Ra-Den, the very essence of a Titan. He united the Mogu into an empire and tried to continue the Titan's work. Of course he saw himself as a god. Quickly, return to me at the Veiled Stair. We should talk face to face.
Wow. So Ra-Den. What is going on here, Missy? Is this all new? Do we know anything about this?
Okay, as far as the Mogu go, we know that they were Titan constructs, which were basically similar to our dwarves and our trogs and everything else.
Right.
Ra-Den, as in like the Titan, I think it's the Titan constructs. They both have similar. Yeah, it's Ra-Den that's the Titan construct that's asleep.
Yes.
There's not much find him, and it's driving me nuts. He could have been asleep for the possibility of destroying Azeroth, since we had those safeguards in Uldum. He could be here to be a safeguard to get rid of the old gods, which technically you can't because they're so integrated in Azeroth. It's so difficult to even like start guesstimating about this thing because we didn't really have much of a hint. We just,
We don't
nothing.
have much to go on, no.
No.
But it's kind of
so
exciting.
exciting.
It's kind of exciting. I mean, I'm not that into the lore, and I'm excited by this. This is really exciting. And so basically, Lei Shen has like usurped the Thunder King almost. Do you think like he stepped into the Thunder King's shoes?
Pretty much.
I'm kind of wondering, and like stop me if I'm talking complete nonsense, because it's highly possible that I could be, whether like maybe that last boss in the raid is going to be some kind of like the revenge of Raden, like after Lei Shen stepped into his shoes when he didn't want him to. Could that be anything along those lines?
It's very possible, considering that the Mogu have been working really hard at first basically getting their stone bodies back from the curse of flesh that the old gods brought upon Azeroth, and 2, learning how to basically, manipulate abilities like we experienced with Fang in Mugasham Vaults, where he was taking on aspects of the different statues around him.
Of course.
So Lei Shen has pretty much decided that they need a leader because they're leaderless. It's really hard when you're a being that takes orders. It's really hard to follow orders when there's no orders.
Definitely.
So I suspect that Raiden will wake up and he is going to be a little bit cranky because 1, he might not supposed to be waking up anytime soon.
Good point.
So he's, again, orderless. And 2, somebody just took his abilities and was doing stuff that wasn't supposed to be happening. But the other thing that we have to think about is that old gods have taken over Titan beings before.
Ooh, yeah, good point. So, maybe, gosh, yeah, I'm just like having lore moments now. I'm beginning to know what all the lore geeks feel like. So maybe it's some kind of like they've seized control of Raiden.
It's very possible because that's what happened in Ulduar. Was all the Titan constructs were kind of a little bit tainted by old gods.
There you go. So this is so exciting, like with lore nerd out moments. So, well, thank you so much for that, Missy. That's really fun, like digging through that video with you. I hope you've enjoyed that hit, guys, and do check out the article below. There is some information on that, but do also check out the full audio video at the bottom. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep it locked and dialed to Gamebreaker TV for all your gaming needs.